We have an update to a story that has a town in the Midwest, quote, ready to riot. Those are the words of the people who live there who we spoke with. The story is a single mom shot dead after she allegedly confronted her neighbor who was allegedly luring birds to the street in front of his house so he could just shoot them.
It's not a secret that this man has a history of attempting to hurt animals. He's been throwing bird seed in the street in an attempt to kill birds forever. That is something everyone in this town knows.
I have new images providing context to this case. One of the victim's friends joins me as the man accused of killing her friend is claiming he did it in self-defense. We're on the case presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. It's not often the national spotlight shines on Moberly, Missouri. This is a small country town in the Midwest, but it is getting a lot of national attention because of the story we're talking about today. It's a story that involves the man you see right here, David Heyede. He's now in jail and he's being held without bond accused of murder. This is his mugshot from when he was arrested. And we also found this picture that was posted to a local community Facebook page in Moberly of the day that he was taken into custody. Now, this is the woman who he allegedly shot and killed. Her name is Bailey Scott. She was a 23-year-old mom. Her son is just 3 years old and he will now grow up without her because of what happened in this story we're talking about. Now, you'll hear from Scott's friend, her best friend, in just a moment. And it's important to hear what she has to say about Heyede as he is claiming what happened on his porch was self-defense. Let me lay out for you what police say happened in the arrest affidavit that we have. Now, here is where the shooting took place, according to police. This is the home where David Heyede lived. Bailey's friend told me that Bailey lived right across the street from this home, so they were neighbors. Heyede's side of the story is that he saw an unknown female outside his house, and he claims that she was acting suspiciously. That's what he told the 911 operator. He says this woman was walking down the street and around an unoccupied house. Heyede then claimed that the female came up to his porch but left before he could get to the door. That female is Bailey Scott. Now, he said Scott came up to the porch again, and this time Heyede met her at the door and he had his handgun behind his back. Heyede claims that he regularly carries a gun like that, especially when he is going to the front door to greet someone he doesn't know. Heyede then says that female, Bailey Scott, seemed agitated in his words and allegedly spoke with him about feeding birds on his front lawn and attempting to kill birds. Now, that is certainly a bizarre situation, of course, allegedly, that he was doing involving these animals. But I want to show you this picture that Bailey's friend sent us of the street where she was killed. She says that you can see the bird seed on the ground in the street. And she says that Heyede would put the seed on the ground so birds would come over and then would shoot them from his porch. And Bailey went to go confront him about this. Now, at this point in the story, Bailey and Heyede are having this altercation on the porch, and Heyede says that he told her to leave. And Heyede says at that point, he raised his right hand with an open palm, gesturing her to leave, and that's when he says Scott then used her right hand to strike him on the left side of his face. Heyede said that he was stunned. He was so stunned that he fired 2 gunshots at this 23-year-old woman, and one of them hit Scott in the torso, and that is where she died, according to police. Heyede is the person who called 911 after he allegedly shot Bailey Scott. Now, even though Heyede told police a story of self-defense, police said they didn't really find evidence of that. They say that Heyede didn't have marks on the side of his face from someone who hit him like he claimed. But then the other part of this is from the autopsy of Bailey Scott, because they say, police, that they found no obvious signs of trauma or injury to her hands, raising questions about whether Scott made contact with the man who says that he was in such danger that he had to shoot this single mom in self-defense. Now, Heyede is facing a charge of second-degree murder. If found guilty, and we still have a long way to go in this case, he would not be eligible for the death penalty because it's second-degree murder. He is being held without bond. He tried to be put on house arrest during a bond hearing on Monday this week, but the judge denied that motion. Cameras are not being allowed in the courtroom in this case thus far, but several of Bailey's friends say they are showing up to to each court hearing in person. I spoke to one of them who says that Bailey was her best friend. She shared with us images of the street where all of this took place. You were looking at a picture of the memorial that is now outside of Bailey's house, remembering her life that was lost. In doing research for this story, I put David Heyede's name into Truthfinder to see if he has any sort of criminal record, and nothing came up. Here at Law&Crime, we partner with Truthfinder and we use it to get details on the people involved in our stories. But even if you don't work in true crime, this can be an excellent resource to give you some peace of mind. It's one of the largest public records search services in the United States. And with the paid subscription service, you get access to unlimited reports about almost anyone. And by the way, right now, you can get 50% off your first month of confidential background reports. Just go to truthfinder.com/OTC. Joining me now to talk a little bit more about this case is Bailey Scott's friend, Sabrina Johnson. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I know that it is not easy to do interviews and talking under these circumstances. We have on our end kind of the police report and hearing what David Heyede told investigators about what happened on his porch and then what led to his arrest. What are some of the things that you want people to know about what you believe happened that day on that porch?
So I believe, first of all, this is a very small town. Word gets around, it's a very country town. It's boring, basically. Nothing like this happens. People listen to the scanners. So when word came in about his 911 call, and he said a woman was attempting to break into his house and he shot and killed her, of course, speculation arose. Our town has a drug problem, and so that was the first thing everyone immediately thought. I'm sorry.
No, I know it's difficult. And to kind of relive this is never easy.
Yeah.
So if I can ask a few questions and kind of, because I know you've been vocal, especially on Facebook, and really trying to set the record straight so people know what happened from your perspective and know of who your friend was. And, when we read kind of the police report, what he had initially told people or law enforcement was, she was trying to break in. She had come up to his porch a couple times. He put in part apparently about she was looking at a vacant home. And then I know in your Facebook post, you said this was not someone who was on drugs. She didn't have mental health issues. So what do you want people to know about Bailey and why she would have gone to David Heyede's house that day?
I want people to know that Bailey was standing up for what was right. And so I think he was looking for a reason to shoot. And that is another reason when I said, I hope the death penalty is enforced here before the charges had come out. Because I believe it could be, he may not have intended to shoot her, but I think he intended to shoot somebody with how he always has a weapon on him, doing things as simple as mowing his lawn. But I want everyone to know that Bailey was doing what was right. She was standing up for innocent animals. She was the kind of person who did that. She didn't know a stranger. She has lived here for about 6 years. I've lived here my whole life, and Bailey knew more people in this town than I do. That's the kind of person she was. She was a friend to everybody.
And I know that you and a lot of her friends have been showing support at some of these court hearings. And you sent me a picture that I know your friend took. And we're talking about, because in the police report, it says that he was, something about him harming animals. And you see this bird seed across the street. And you talked about it a little bit, but what is your understanding? I mean, he would just almost lure animals in front of his house just to shoot them?
Yes. He would throw bird seed out. He would throw food scraps. I had people message me after I had made all these posts on Facebook. They had messaged me, neighbors who used to live by him, who had dogs, and he would throw food over the fence for the dogs, things that would hurt them. And when those neighbors knocked on his door to ask him to stop, he pulled a gun on them, and told them to get off his property.
Did Bailey live near? Were they neighbors
Yeah,
or
across
on
the
this
street.
street? So she had witnessed, I mean, had she ever said anything to you about just who this guy was, like across the
Yes.
street? Um,
So they had worked together in the past. Before she had lived in that house about a year and a half, um, and they had worked together here in town. It's been probably 3 years, even longer probably. She's a very memorable person. Like, he's just lying.
do you know where they worked or like what type of work? Because I know he was like a peace officer in the past, but then it was kind of like unclear what he did professionally. I guess I know he's in his 60s, but at least where they worked most recently.
It was called DSV here in Moberly. It's like a factory type work.
What more would she, I mean, not only because I just think, for her too, seemed like just such a great person. And I've only seen Facebook posts, but I've seen so many people come out and support for her. What would she tell you about when she would witness some of these, and I have to say alleged because it's, a criminal proceeding, but when she would witness what he would allegedly do to these animals in front of his house?
I mean, basically what everyone's saying, it's messed up, it's not okay. Why hasn't anyone stood up to him before? I mean, that's what it was. And I do believe maybe something was said. I don't think she would have gone over there unprovoked, with the way the story lined up. So I think maybe he had said something to get her over there. And in the police report, he stated that she had hit him, and that is very unlike her. She would not do that. Um, like, if it'd been any of her other friends, myself included, absolutely we would have, but not her. She was a peaceful person. Like, and that is why I think something brought her over there, in the first place. Maybe not just him throwing birdseed. I do think maybe he said something. I don't know. Um,
And
and
I think I mean, also too, for him to be claiming self-defense. And it's kind of an awkward question, but I mean, was Bailey, I mean, what was her, because I think of this man, he's a 65-year-old man. He has a gun with him. And then like she goes over there. It just seems like for her to be the aggressor, just from a physical stature standpoint, it just doesn't make sense.
yeah, I mean, she was 120 pounds soaking wet. Like, she it was a tiny person, maybe 5'6", 5'7", honestly. We are about the same height. And after seeing him in court, I asked myself the same question. I was like, how was he intimidated by her, a 23-year-old woman smaller than him? It didn't make sense to me.
What emotions did you experience when you went to court? And I know you've been going to court for when he's there, but what was it like for you to see him in court?
I was The first time I had seen him in court, I was angry. Um, I had every thought racing through my head. I have a daughter of my own, um, that I was thinking about, and as a mother, and David Heyede has adopted kids of his own, and I was just thinking, like, how could he? He knew she had a son. She was always outside with him, and he was always outside. He was on his porch and everything. So as a mother, I was thinking, like, how could you willingly shoot someone and know you're taking someone's parent away? And so that it made me angry. Yesterday, when I seen him and he came out, myself and the rest of Bailey's friends were sitting in the front row, and he made eye contact with all of us, and he didn't show any remorse, regret, nothing.
What is, because cameras aren't allowed to this point with the proceedings, so all we really have are kind of the descriptions we get inside the courtroom. I mean, what does We've seen the mugshot. Um, that moment where he looks you in the eyes. I mean, what were you looking for in that moment, that he kind of actually looks at the support for the person that he's accused of murdering?
I was looking for any kind of sadness, any kind of reaction. I mean, we were all crying, we were bawling. It was hard to be there, and I was just looking for something in his face to say I'm sorry, and there was nothing. He refused to say a word. His public defender did all the talking for him. Um, and so, I mean, that just it tells me that he 100% believes he's in the right here. Um, and I just psychologically, I don't understand how he can do that. He killed someone and he's living life normally. Like a normal person wouldn't be able to do that. That would mess with anyone, but it's not seeming to bother him.
What was, and I know you have a big group of friends, Bailey's friends, who are going to these court appearances and making sure that people know her story, because unfortunately she can't tell it. But when you heard that his defense was going to be a self-defense for your group, what was the reaction when you heard that that's what the path that he was going to try to take with this?
Oh, anger. Very, very much anger. Um, there was a lot of words said that I can't repeat on this, um, but just anger, rage. I mean, 75% of this town is ready to riot, honestly.
What has because as you were saying, Moberly is a small town. Typically you don't have stories where it makes the type of news like this is. What is the mood in town, when it comes to this story and how it's playing out?
It's gloomy. Um, this whole town, we've all done an amazing job of rallying support for Bailey's family and helping with all the funds. And her son has received so much love from all of these businesses. Our local coffee shop, Scooters. I don't know if you guys have it over there. It's really good. But she got Scooters every day with her son, and they put on a weekend long fundraiser. Our local tattoo shop has put on a fundraiser of flash sheets of Bailey's favorite things to get tattooed. All of us friends have gotten tattoos. Myself and a couple more of her friends put on a remembrance walk where we raised donations. And then even people who did not know Bailey, who have put their skills to use, donating Justice for Bailey car decals, T-shirts, koozies, bracelets, everything, where all of the funds are going directly to her son.
No, that's great. And I want to talk about Bailey. Just make sure that people know who she was in just a moment. Why is it important for you and your friends to be as vocal as you have been in this case?
Because she would do it for us. She wouldn't stop until justice is served. And one of our big mottos that we've been saying is "Be like Bailey," and that's the message we're wanting to spread. That this shouldn't have happened, and for it to happen to someone like Bailey, who absolutely did not deserve this, um, it's just not okay. And so our message, "Be like Bailey." She would be trying everything she could to help anyone. Not even if it was one of her friends. It could have been a total stranger, and she would be doing even more than what we're doing right now, if that's possible.
I mean, you guys are doing so much. I keep thinking about the picture you sent me because it just provides kind of the context of what the scene was when all of this happened. From the friend that sent you that picture and knowing her neighborhood, I mean, what is that neighborhood like now, considering everything that took place there?
It's honestly busy, um, because being in a small town, everyone wants to see it. But in front of Bailey's house, a lot of us have added a memorial type thing. Um, and so there's been strangers going up and paying their respects to her memorial. So it was just a quiet little street. Nothing happened on it. And I go down it every day now, and it's busy.
Yeah, and Sabrina, for people who are watching this, who have never been to your town, they sadly didn't get a chance to meet Bailey, but they hear about this story. What do you want people to know about who she was?
I want people to know that she was such an amazing person. She did not deserve this. Bailey would do anything for anyone. She would literally give the shirt off her back, the shoes under her feet, the roof over her head for any single person who needed it. And that's what I want everyone to learn from this, is to be like Bailey.
What do you know about, just lastly, anything related to the court case that maybe hasn't been reported, or what your plans are with your friends about showing support for her moving forward as this all plays out?
So with the court case, I have been trying to stay off of all of that as much as I can because it's only just makes me more upset. Um, but if it's not known, his public defender claims to be a very long time friend of his, and in court yesterday stated that he did not want his bias to play a part in anything. Um, his next court date is August 11th. I plan to be there as well. I feel like she's getting 100% of the support she can. For all of us who are coming to support, it's extremely hard. And it's only getting harder, to be honest. Um, I know the fundraising we're doing right now, it's not a one-time thing. We plan on continuing it, whether it be monthly, biannually. We haven't really figured out the details yet, but we want to keep Bailey's name alive and keep supporting her son.
Well, Sabrina Johnson, thank you, a friend of Bailey Scott. This is just a absolutely gut-wrenching story. You guys are doing a lot to support your friend, and we'll continue to follow the story as well here on Law and Crime. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Everything David Heyede is facing at this point are allegations. He has pleaded not guilty. Once again, he's being charged with second-degree murder, and he is being held without bond. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.